I'm going to show you the exact 8-step framework we use to optimize Google search campaigns in 2025. From defining your approach in keyword research to campaign structure, ad copy, and the volume-based bidding strategy. The complete system that decides whether you're paying $3 per click with a 2% conversion rate or $1.50 per click with a 5% conversion rate. We're not talking about the surface level tweaks. I'll run you through our step-by-step campaign build process so you avoid the headaches of agencies or internal media buyers saying, no, just give it time to let the algorithm figure it out. You got to give it more days. Let it spend a little bit more. Fuck that. My name is Jackson Blackledge and I run a Google Ads agency that specializes in e-commerce. All we do is Google Ads for e-commerce brands. At the moment, we have over 120 active clients. Brands such as Tabs, Ovi, Wine by Lamborghini, Icon Amsterdam, Raw Nutrition. These individuals trust us with their Google Ad accounts. My team and I have seen what separates the accounts that scale profitably from the ones that just burn through budget hoping things improve. Before we dive in, I do need to mention something critical, and that's quality score. We're not going to be covering this topic in this video, but for those that don't know, the metric is measured on a scale from 1 to 10 at the keyword level, and it directly impacts your CPCs, which is your cost per clicks, and also your profitability. We're talking 30-40% cost differences, guys. Now, I've covered quality score in depth in other videos, so I'll link that in the description, but just know that everything we're building today, the keywords, the structure, the landing pages, ad copy, it all feeds into maximizing the quality score. So just zooming in here, so the first mistake we see is people jumping straight into keyword research. And this is what we often see in our audits, brands jumping straight into it. Then they wonder why their campaigns aren't converting. And the better approach is actually starting from a foundation. First of all, you want to identify what's the intent of this campaign, what problem are we solving, and what landing page or product page best matches that intent. This level of strategic thinking needs to happen first. So I want to give you a little example here. You know, if we're building a campaign for a supplement brand like creatine monohydrate, you need to decide, are we targeting people looking for general creatine information that's actually top of funnel? Or are we targeting people who are searching something like buy creatine monohydrate and it's bottom of funnel and high purchase intent? And this sort of decision decides everything downstream, from your keyword selection, your match types, landing page choice, and even your bidding strategy. The key thing to remember is you can't just find high volume keywords and then assume that's good enough. Volume without intent is just expensive traffic that does not convert. You want to find keywords that match the intent you're going for, whether that's to buy, to research, to compare. The goal is to find search queries that users use to find solutions to problems we aim to solve. Example 1, best running shoes for flat feet. A user searching this is likely in the researching phase, okay? They're not ready to buy straight away. So you want to run an ad and landing page that is basically a helpful guide, or you can run it to a comparison page that shows running shoes suitable for flat feet and position your product as preferred. And basically, if you dial all of these in, you're going to get a higher relevance, cheaper click, plus heaps more sales. So even if it's something like research, top of funnel term, you can still convert if you execute correctly here. Like this one, best noise cancelling headphones under $200. Someone searching this is already wanting to buy and is already closer to be a customer, and most likely just comparing options. So you can actually target them with ads as well. And those ads would lead directly to your product page with search and shopping. Or you can do a third-party comparison page as well that sort of positions your product highly. You're able to get those page recommendations. Your goal is always to match the intent you had landing pages for, then to find search queries that act as solutions to these. And we use 3 main tools: SEMrush, Google's Keyword Planner, and keywordtool.io. Just a side note, a single keyword can trigger your ad for multiple different queries. Which queries it triggers sort of depends on the match type and the context Google assigns to the user's search. Your primary focus for keyword research is to find long tail keywords that we can use with exact match, because these are actually going to be your highest converting terms because they have the highest intent and they're the most specific ones. You want to basically find ones with decent search volume, at least 1,000 to 2,000 monthly searches per keyword. If you're in a market with low long tail volume, you can add broader keywords with phrase match, and this helps your ads appear for a wider range of queries, so you get higher impressions and obviously clicks that you can later optimize for. Let's say we get the term creatine monohydrate. What we do is run this as a phrase match because this is your broader traffic keyword, and then you have these 3 that we'd obviously run as exact match because they have a higher level of intent and they're also very specific. Creatine for women, creatine for vegetarians, best creatine powder. So the exact match keywords are our high intent, high conversion keywords. The phrase match keywords are discovery keywords. Your ads will show for a wider range of queries. It'll also help us find new exact match keywords to add later. And obviously remember guys, I'm going to keep saying this again and again, but relevance between the keyword and the landing page you're using matters a lot here. At the end of the day, it controls your CPC, but it also matters for user experience and conversion rate. If the landing page isn't relevant or has poor UX, your conversion rate drops, which feeds back into quality score, which increases your costs. It's all connected. Okay, so now that we have our keywords, let's get into the process for choosing your landing pages or product pages. And this is huge when it comes to optimizing your search campaigns. So as I mentioned earlier, the goal is to choose a landing URL, and you want it to be as relevant as possible to your keywords and to your ad copy. And this goes both ways. If you have specific landing pages you've tested before in Meta or another platform and it works, you want to find keywords that fit. Or maybe if you find a profitable angle or keyword, you can create landing pages for that as well. Or if you also see keywords that are printing for competitors or could be a good match for your product, it's worth creating a landing page for it too. It's also why we've created a dedicated landing page team here at Echelonn for our clients, as we incorporate it for the Google Ads. Every additional thing we do at Echelonn for clients is all based around improving the ROI on the Google Ads. We've had successful case studies where we're able to basically tap into new keywords profitably just from creating new landing pages. So we had a client that was selling these resistant bands. I just put a general image here because I don't want to out them, but essentially they were just targeting people looking to use resistant bands as an alternative to gym. So historically, they'd be targeting keywords like home workout equipment, sport enthusiasts, personal trainer, portable gym workout at home, just stuff like this. But they started hitting a wall with their campaigns. They couldn't scale any further and they were struggling to scale. So what we did was, after talking to the founder, we realized they were actually thinking of breaking into the Pilates section and the yoga market. So what we did was we ran a quick test where we basically targeted these Pilates and yoga keywords. We ran a quick test just under £2,000 and we got a ROAS of 2.1. Not bad, right? So we have an internal landing page team, and what we did was we created this keyword specific page. You can see yoga mentioned here in the hero and other sections. And again, coming from the goal of targeting Pilates and yoga keywords. And what we found was we were actually able to almost double the spend and maintain ROAS at a 2.08 in a new market for them. Now, another more extreme example is this one. We had a client that was selling grounding sheets. As you can see from the keyword here, they're paying CPCs up to $6. It's fucked. And as you can see from the graph, they just weren't getting any results. So this campaign was their prospecting campaign. They were trying to basically acquire new customers in this campaign, and it wasn't working at the end of the day. They had high CPCs. So what our team did was we created a new landing page for their grounding sheet campaign targeting these keywords. And as you can see, the CPCs went down dramatically. So some $1.73, etc. But not only that, we can see that conversion started going up too. After the landing page, we can see that the conversions started to slowly go up after the creation and implementation of the landing page. The key rule is, if you have specific URLs that better match certain keywords, assign them at the keyword level. High relevance is a formula of when the user finds a solution or an answer to the query in both the ad and in the landing page. That's what Google is looking for. If you can successfully play Google's game, you will rank higher and have cheaper clicks. All right, so just a few specific signals that Google looks for when it comes to your landing page. There are basically 3 factors Google looks at with these pages. First one, bounce rate. It measures the percentage of users who leave your landing page after viewing only one page. In Google Analytics GA4, this is expressed the other way around as engagement rate. A high bounce rate tells Google that users are not finding the content on your landing page relevant to your search query. So this negatively impacts your ads and relevance score and won't be pushed as much. Second, presence of related terms on the landing page. So this one refers to having your chosen keywords and any related phrases to your landing page. Ideally, you want to have several places that show your page is related to the user's search. As you see in the case study earlier, this helps a lot. Google scanned your landing page for these terms to determine its relevance to the ad and obviously the keywords. And lastly is a CVR, conversion rate. This plays a key role, especially if you're using conversion focused bid strategies like max conversion as target ROAS or target CPA. It's what percent of users actually completed your desired action on the landing page after they clicked the ad. If your page has a good conversion rate, it then tells Google to push your ads more because they're thinking, oh, the users are going to have a good experience on this landing page. But also think about it aligns to the intent. The page matches what users are looking for, and ultimately this helps you rank higher so Google can push more traffic to that page and your CPCs will reduce anyways. Already you can see the marginal gains you get by doing this process, and the effect of this scales as you spend more. All right, so you have the keywords, you have landing pages. How should you go about organizing everything in the most optimized way possible? So before I define the campaign structure, I look at 3 specific factors. Factor 1, minimum total search volume of keywords per ad group. You want your single ad group to ideally have 15,000 monthly searches. This is our threshold. Below this, you don't have enough volume to really optimize effectively. Factor 2, are these keywords related? Do the keywords have a logical relationship? Are they solving the same problem or targeting the same user intent? And then the third factor, can I avoid mixing match types within the same ad group? Once we've got our keywords, their match types, and our landing pages and URLs, we can then decide on the final structure. So here's what I do. If I'm using both phrase match and exact match keywords, I create 2 separate ad groups. Some specialists obviously keep everything in one ad group, but we prefer the separation. It gives us way more control. And when volume is really low, you might actually merge everything into a single ad group, even if it means mixing match types. But here's why I prefer separating by match type. It allows me to optimize bids based on user intent and the goal of each ad group. So if you're using manual CPC, for the exact match group, you want to set a lower CPC. We separate these into groups because the exact match keywords are highly specific. So you have better conversion rates despite lower search volumes. Phrase match keywords are broader. You obviously give more volume, but they have lower conversion rates. Having this structure in place allows you to sort of efficiently put your budget in the right places as you can give more data and conversion. So now let's get into the weeds a little bit and talk about ad copy. Ad copy is critical because your ad copy directly impacts 3 things: your expected click-through rate, your ad relevance score, and obviously whether people actually click your ad or your competitors. When we're writing or reviewing ad copy for search campaigns, we follow a specific set of rules. So rule number 1, you want to use 14 headlines and 3 descriptions, not the full 15 that you can add. As you can see in the headlines, I've actually left a gap at the bottom. See an empty headline, just 14. And scrolling down, you could also see that I've only done 3 descriptions, not the full 4. The reason you want to do that is because you want room for headline extensions and description extensions. These sort of let you add limited time offers, seasonal messages, or promotional callouts without touching your core ad copy. So you can rotate them in, out during times such as Black Friday, end of quarter sales, or any promotional period. Rule number 2, every ad must include these 5 elements: your USPs. What makes you different from your competitors? Brand name, discounts, or current offers, social proof, and obviously lastly, just a clear, direct CTA. These 4 elements give you a complete value proposition in the SERP. Rule number 3 is just maintain consistency in the formatting. If you capitalize the first letter of each word in your headlines, do it everywhere. If you use a sentence case, use it everywhere. Inconsistent formatting makes your ads look really unprofessional and it hurts trust. Rule number 4, use ad customizers to maximize relevance. This is where ad copy gets really powerful. So there are 3 customizers we use in almost every campaign. Dynamic keyword insertion for exact match groups. When someone searches creatine monohydrate for women, your headline dynamically becomes creatine monohydrate for women, free shipping. Also location customizers for shipping or delivery, free shipping to, and then insert city, and this dynamically inserts the searcher's actual city depending on where they're searching from, and it just makes the ad feel personalized without creating dozens of ad variations. Countdown timers for promotional periods during things such as BFCM or any sale. You can use sale ends in bracket countdown and 30% off all creatine products. These customizers increase your Google Ads relevance, which increases CTR, which improves quality score, which lowers your CPC. It's all connected. Now I want to dive into extensions. So extensions increase your SERP, SERP, real estate. You're taking up more space on the search results page. That means competitors get pushed down, more visibility for you, more clicks for you. This has to be one of the most overlooked performance levers in Google Ads. Here are the minimum required extensions: business name, business logo, site links. It's obviously at least 4, but we use 8 to 12. Call outs, we use 10 to 12 as well. And then structured snippets. So those were the minimum ones, but these ones are our highly recommended ones. Image extensions, absolutely crucial on mobile. Price extensions, show your products and prices directly in the SERP, and this pre-qualifies clicks and increases conversion rates. And then we have promotion extensions, perfect for highlighting your current sales or offers. Another one is actually headline and description extensions, especially during promotional periods when you want to highlight time-sensitive offers without changing your core ad copy. Here I have an example of a search I did. LED masks for women. One that stands out to me on this search results page, and I'm sure it stands out to you too, is this LED red light therapy face mask. Mate, they got the price, it's in stock, 4.6 stars, 2,700 reviews, fuck me, free delivery, 30-day returns, happy days, mate. Not only does their title match the keywords, but you have all these extensions. That just makes it more clickable than the other competitors. They're competing with the exact same space on the search results page. And on top of that, you could see that they've got an image extension so they can immediately see the product that they want to click into. Now, with all of this in place, we can finally talk about the bidding strategy that makes it all profitable. This one is one of the most critical decisions you'll make. And most people actually get it wrong because they pick a strategy based on what sounds good or what they've heard on fucking Twitter. And they don't pick it based on what their account can actually support, especially with all the gurus out there who like to generalize what you should and shouldn't do. And even with this advice, I'm about to give you more general principles of what you should do. So the bidding strategy depends on two factors. First, is this a branded campaign or a prospecting campaign? And secondly, what's your conversion volume? Let me break it down exactly how we approach this. So for branded campaigns, we use manual CPC 90% of the time at the campaign level. Then we adjust per ad group. Okay, so one of our campaigns, and I'm just going to click into our branded campaign here, labeled search brand Australia. So if you scroll down, you can actually see we're using manual CPC. So we click into here. And as you can see, for the exact match group, we set our max CPC 5 to 10% higher than the keyword average. And then for the phrase match group, we set the CPC 5 to 10% higher than the exact match group. If the phrase match ad group starts spending most of your budget, you can lower that max CPC to rebalance spend back toward your exact match keywords. Branded campaigns are pretty straightforward, but prospecting campaigns are different. These are campaigns that you're using to get new customers into the funnel. So you're targeting people that aren't searching for your brand or people that have never purchased from you before. Here, your bidding on Google Ads will depend on your conversion volume. If you're running a prospecting campaign with low to medium volume, that's anything under sort of 50 conversions in the last 30 days, you need to use maximize clicks with a max CPC cap. But Jackson, Google says to use target ROAS or target CPC, let the algorithm optimize for conversions. But the problem is the algorithm needs data to optimize. Without enough conversion volume, these target CPA or target ROAS will burn through your budget testing bids that don't really have enough data backing them. So if you've still got low volume, use maximize clicks to get volume first. Get the clicks, get the history and data, but set a max CPC cap to keep cost controlled while you're in this learning phase. And once you hit at least 50 conversions in the last 30 days in that specific campaign, you can transition to target ROAS. But if you're running a high volume prospecting campaign, 50 plus conversions per month, you have enough data to use target ROAS from the start. So here's how we set this up. You want to set your target ROAS 20% below your overall profitable goal. So if you need a 5 ROAS to be profitable, set the campaign target to 4 ROAS at first. This gives the algorithm room to get more volume and conversion data while you're building history. Then every 30 days, you want to review your target ROAS and align it with your business goals and actual performance. If you're consistently hitting that target, slowly ramp up the target. If you're below target, you might need to adjust your structure or keep the target where it is until performance stabilizes. The key at the end of the day is matching your bidding strategy to your campaign type and data volume. And while it can vary for accounts, especially bigger accounts that are spending upwards of 5 or 6 figures a day, this general framework is a good base for structuring your accounts. I know this is pretty simple and you've heard it before, but let's talk about keyword exclusions. This is a video on optimization, so it needs to be said again. This strategy becomes most important when you're running prospecting campaigns. If you're building a prospecting campaign, meaning you're trying to acquire new customers, you need to exclude your brand keywords. This is key. If you don't do this, the algorithm will use your brand keywords to deliver results. It'll show your ads to people searching for your brand name because those are easy, cheap clicks that convert very well. But you're not actually prospecting. You're just paying for traffic you would have already gotten organically. The cleanest way to manage this is create a negative brand keyword list at the account level and apply it to all prospecting campaigns, including variations of your brand name, common misspellings, your URL, and any sort of branded product names. This way you can really manage it in one place, and any new prospecting campaign you create automatically has brand terms excluded. This seems like a small thing, but trust me, it's a difference between precise data and completely misleading metrics. Here's what I recommend. You want to start with one campaign, pick your lowest performing campaign right now and restructure. Then watch what happens over 2 to 3 weeks. I guarantee you will see some improvements in quality score, reductions in CPC, or increases in conversion rate. Usually all three. If you're thinking, I need help with this, or I want someone to audit my account and sort of show me what to fix, that's exactly what we do. More than happy to run through your ad account free of charge. We'll answer your questions. We'll do a deep dive into your ad account, do an audit, then show you the audit. You can ask as many questions as you want. The link is in the description to book a time with myself. We'll spend 60 minutes going through the entire ad account and I'll show you exactly where you're leaving money on the table. I'll see you on the next one. Ciao.